up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It's your boy D Dyson. So can't wait for The Last of Us episode 3 and seeing the trailer right after episode 2 ended, and just Anna Torv as Tess was really, I wanted to have a deep dive in her, but she got killed off so fast, and then you don't really know how she got bitten, which I'm assuming was by one of the clickers when they were fighting. And just ultimate badass. From what I understand, like I said, I've never watched or never played the video game of The Last of Us, so I am enjoying this ride. And for Nick Offerman to be cast as Bill, I knew the fans were so excited. They were elated. The people that's diehard fans of The Last of Us was like, Nick Offerman couldn't be a better choice for Bill. So let's check out this Last of Us episode 3 trailer breakdown from the kings and queens of the breakdown, New Rockstars.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of the trailer for The Last of Us Episode 3. Now, my in-depth breakdown of the details everyone missed in Episode 2 is now on the channel, but let's look ahead to Episode 3 and how this show is going to make it even harder for me to enjoy my Sunday night mushroom and pepperoni pizza. I mean, the mushrooms I can handle, but I never want to cry while eating the pepperoni, and this show's just so emotional. Now, be sure to subscribe to our new channel, The Deep Dive, in which I will be doing weekly film analyses with a more investigatory focus. I think you're really going to love what we're working on over there. Okay, let's take a look at the first half of this Last of Us Episode 3 trailer.
Not today, you New World Order jackboot.
My name's Frank.
Here's the thing, Frank. If I feed you, then every bum you talk to about it is gonna show up here looking for a free lunch. And this is not an Arby's.
Well, Arby's didn't have free lunch, it was a restaurant.
So this next episode is going to center around Bill and Frank. These are the characters with whom Joel has a code over the short-range radio of 60 songs meaning nothing new, and 70 songs meaning new stock, and 80 songs meaning trouble. And since Depeche Mode's 1987 Never Let Me Down Again played at the end of episode 1, that suggested trouble. Well, we got trouble, my friends, right here in Bombed Out City. There's trouble with a capital T that rhymes with C that stands for cordyceps in the flower supply. In the game, we meet Bill, who's a grouchy survivalist who has rigged his town of Lincoln, Massachusetts with endless deadly booby traps. He's voiced and portrayed by W. Earl Brown, whom you might know from Deadwood or as the Mos Pelgo bartender in The Mandalorian. And while I guess it would have been fun for W. Earl Brown and Pedro Pascal to team back up in this, it just can't be overstated how perfect of a casting choice Nick Offerman is. His iconic role as Ron Swanson on Parks and Rec is basically a libertarian survivalist who prefers living off the grid and carving canoes quietly at home. The kind of guy you do not stop for chit-chat in a Lowe's.
Is there a project you're working on?
I know more than you.
All right.
But actually, Offerman wasn't the first choice. Greg Mazin originally cast Con O'Neill as Bill. Con O'Neill is an excellent actor in his own right, who played the plant director in Mazin's last show Chernobyl and Police Chief Bach in The Batman, but O'Neill had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts. This looks like mostly a flashback episode showing how Bill met his partner Frank. Frank played by Murray Bartlett, the Australian actor perhaps best known as Armand, the concierge in season 1 of HBO's White Lotus. But here we see how Bill has already equipped his home in Lincoln with a paranoid bunker with multiple security feeds, which is impressive because this infection sweeps through the United States in a matter of days. This is a guy who was waiting for the apocalypse to come, and he was proven right. So think about who that guy is. In these security monitors, if you look closely, you can see his neighbors being forced evacuated in trucks by Fedra soldiers. And I love how his desktop computer to his right is an era and character appropriate Windows 2000, not Windows XP. That's one that had the blue search bar along the bottom, and the rolling green hills, which I later found out because I now live here, is actually Napa, California. Windows XP would have been out by September 2003, but this is the kind of guy who sticks with the old OS because it worked just fine for him, and upgrading is how they spy on you. Frank has this legitimately great response. Arby's doesn't give out free lunches. Wish they did. I mean, screw Joel's Adkins diet. I'd be on an exclusive bit beef and cheddar diet. Now, behind Bill farming this carrot, there is a white church, which could be the church that Bill holds up in the game. He also wears bandolier bullets around his chest when he catches Frank in the hole. We see Bill wearing this in the game, but a big difference from the game version of Bill, Nick Offerman has a far bushier beard, which, might have just been Offerman showing up the set saying, "Oh, sorry, I haven't shaved since yesterday." Let's move on with the second half of this trailer.
Sooner or later, there'll be raiders. They'll come at night, quiet and armed.
Call Joel. We'll be fine.
So remember, episode 2 ended with Tess telling Joel to take Ellie to Bill and Frank's, hoping that they would take her off his hands. Here it looks like they made it to the house, and now Ellie looks to be going through Bill's drawer to find a gun, beneath that a handwritten note. Now in the game, Bill has various written notes laid around all over the house that you can read. There are some things going on with Bill and Frank from the game that game players are aware of, but to protect anyone watching this show blind from spoilers, I'm gonna save all the game reveals until the end of this video in Spoiler Corner, as I do for all of my Last of Us episode breakdowns. It's because I love you all and I care. But let's just quickly go through the rest of the stuff we see in this trailer. The fact that Ellie has a gun now is interesting, because in episode 2, remember, she repeatedly asked for a gun from Tess and Joel. They both denied her, and it doesn't look like Joel is in the room with Ellie in this moment, so Ellie may now be carrying a secret gun, unbeknownst to Joel. This is the same kind of pistol that Ellie does get later in the game from the hotel, and there's a whole thing that goes down with it. I was just out of the country on my honeymoon, and I went on Netflix over there, and I was shocked to see all the stuff that normally is there in American Netflix, but not where I was. That's why it's so important to use NordVPN. With NordVPN, I could switch my virtual location on my device with one click, letting me access streaming services from over 60 countries at no extra cost. This opens up a smorgasbord of stuff to watch that I wouldn't be able to access without NordVPN. NordVPN is also the fastest VPN out there, so you won't have to sacrifice speed for sake of your shows. It's what we use at New Rockstar's offices, and let me tell you, it's fast. For the price of just one cup of coffee a month, I get to have premium cybersecurity on 6 devices and gain access to streaming services from over 60 countries at no extra cost. It's also available on every platform. To grab your exclusive NordVPN deal, go to nordvpn.com/newrockstars to get a huge discount off your NordVPN plan plus a bonus gift. NordVPN is a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can try NordVPN completely risk-free. Just click the link in the description to get started. Joel warns Bill about raiders and what I assume is a flashback, because behind them at the gate, you can see Tess talking to Frank. So in the show's timeline, Tess and Joel had previously visited Bill and Frank, whereas in the game, only Tess had gone. And we see an attack by the raiders that Joel warned about, and Bill's booby traps seem to be at least a bit effective, torching some of the raiders with a flamethrower, the good old Kevin McAllister method, or frying them on an electric fence, which is the Kevin McAllister method from Home Alone 2. You get pretty violent. And wounded, Bill tells Frank, call Joel, which might be the reason that Depeche Mode song played in episode 1, as it was raining on both nights, but we will see this might be an earlier incident. Then Joel and Ellie on the road see some clothed skeletons in a mass grave. Now, for them to be normal human skeletons, this must mean they were not infected when they died, because otherwise the fungus would have overtaken and puppeted their corpses. So it could be these people were straight up murdered, maybe by some gang, maybe by Fedra. Bummer detail here. Notice that the skeleton on the left is smaller. This was a kid. This pairing parallels the lone wolf and cub of Joel and Ellie, much like that shot of the 2 stalks in the opening credits. Here, a grim possible fate for these 2 characters if they run into one day of bad luck. Quick shot of Bill plowing his truck through a fence to some kind of plant. If you go through this frame by frame, you can see he's carrying some large bins in the back of the truck and towing a boat. I assume the bins are for fuel that he is now going to be stealing and hoarding, but a boat, very smart move, because you know if that land becomes overrun with infected, it might be good to live on a boat for a bit. You never know if these things can swim. I mean, Ellie for sure can't. Then Ellie flips open her mother's switchblade to poke at this infected guy who just stares her down. The practical makeup on this series is incredible. You can see little chunks of skin and flesh still attached to the mycelium. Mycelium is the name of the fungus tendril, meaning these stalks burst out of the guy's skin recently. Ellie seems to be looking into this guy's eye to see if there's any soul left inside, as she asked Joel last episode if it was hard to kill so many infected without thinking about the person they used to be. But the way this guy stares her down through that infected yellow eye, we do get a sense of some cognition the fungi seem to be possessing collectively, based on their hive mind that this colony shares, explained to us by Tess last episode. Okay, now on to Spoiler Corner! For those of you who have played the game, or those of you who don't care. In the game, Bill and Frank were romantic partners, but we never actually meet Frank, because Frank is dead by the time Joel brings Ellie to Lincoln. Things had ended badly between him and Bill. Frank got sick of Bill's survival methods and left Bill stealing supplies and a car battery, but then got surrounded by a horde of infected and got bitten several times. He ended up hanging himself, leaving a pretty bitter suicide note for Bill, telling him that he hated his guts and saying, quote, I guess you were right. Trying to leave this town will kill me. Still better than spending another day with you. Yikes. Joel finds Frank's body in this note after searching for that military truck battery, but he gets trapped briefly by the horde, gets holed up in a school where you run into your first bloater in the game. Bloaters were teased in episode 2, and episode 3 could be our first glimpse of that bloater we see in the trailers, but I also wonder if that might be a little early in the season for the bloater. I think that might be an end of season thing. Ultimately, this stage of the game, Joel finds the truck that battery was hotwired to, and he and Ellie use it to move on to Pittsburgh. But this episode on the HBO series will finally show us what happened between Bill and Frank, and whether they're still together when Joel and Ellie arrive. Maybe the couple's time together unfolded differently than the bitter way it was depicted in the game. I thought for a second that maybe that letter underneath the gun that Ellie finds is Frank's suicide note to Bill, but I don't think that would make sense. Like, why would he have hidden the note when he wanted wanted Bill to find it. I just think this letter is another one of the letters that Bill leaves lying around. But by casting interesting actors like Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett, this show signals an interesting bottle episode that could give even more dimension to these characters than we get in the game. Let me know your thoughts down below and subscribe to The Deep Dive. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EAVoss. Follow New Rockstars and subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis of everything you love. Thanks for watching. Bye.
That's why I can't wait to watch this, because like I said, as a fan of the show, I never played the game, so I don't know what's going on and who's who and who does what, but I enjoy the hell out of this ride. And just the actors playing in this show, just like you said, brings so much depth to these characters that pretty much a lot of people probably didn't get in the game. So we get to have a more glimpse or more detail of the character. Now, how I look at it is, I can understand some of the gripes of people saying that, you know, it didn't happen like this, it happened this way. But I love that the show's creators is also from the game's creators. So you get a good glimpse of what needs to be going into detail and what needs to change to fit the show. And I'm excited for this. And then, like I said, if this is going to turn out where you kind of meet that sub-big boss baddie, which is a bloater, then I'm all for it, because those things, like, they are extremely hard to kill. And I can't wait for Nick Offerman's Bill to see how he's booby-trapped this whole little town, just kind of how he is. And just to see him and Frank's interaction. And then you get these montages of what happened in the past as well, to kind of get more depth on who Bill and Frank is and what Joel was doing with them probably early on before they meet, or before we just get into that present time with Ellie. So that's why I'm here for this. I need more trailer breakdowns. I need more episode breakdowns, and I'll be doing those as well. So, you guys enjoyed my reaction to The Last of Us Episode 3 trailer breakdown, Easter eggs and details we missed. Subscribe to my channel, post comment down below, and like the video. It's your boy, D. Dyson. Peace.